or life insurance by clicking on our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
News time is 9 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. The second phase of Clinton High School's football and track facility updates are underway. Superintendent Drew Goebel indicates the complex will be getting new bleachers and a new press box.
So this last summer we put turf on the football field, and then we went from a 6-lane track to an 8-lane track, and then we also put brand new lights. And if you recall, the 6-lane track had the light poles were right up on that 6th lane. You could not expand it, so we had to get new lights. So that project, the turf, the lights, and the track, I call that phase 1. And we did that without affecting taxes or depleting reserves. We just had it. So phase 2 is the bleachers. That's the big one, or outside, the architects call them grandstands. So we're going to move the home bleachers to the west side of the field. I think the capacity for those are, like 1,600. So I think you're going to be able to fit a little bit more people on the bleachers. And then we're also going to have a new press box. So a state-of-the-art brand new press box. So that's like the lion's share of phase 2.
According to Goebel, the structure under what will become the visiting bleachers is going to be demolished and will be replaced by a pole barn. Additionally, there will be new sidewalks added around the facility for better access.
But then there's also other projects that are part of that. We're doing, the current home bleachers has a storage room underneath it, but it never really was designed for storage. I think at one point they were for locker rooms. So that structure, that block building underneath the bleachers is getting knocked down, and of course the bleachers that are on top of that structure are getting pulled off. So we're going to get a new pole barn that is going to be for storage in that area, and a local builder is going to be doing that.
Nice.
If we can do things locally, we always do. So we have a local builder that we have lined up for that, and then ATG, the same company that did the football field, they're going to do the bleachers, and then we're also purchasing visitor bleachers. Of course, not as big and as because the visitor you always do it as large. So we'll have visitor, but then there's things like sidewalks. We're changing from home and away, so we're going to have a sidewalk and then there's asphalt. Right now, when you come into the football field now, you have that asphalt right there, and that's in bad shape. There's potholes, and so we're going to get new asphalt. So there's phase 2 is not nearly as costly as phase 1. So it's going to look amazing.
Goebel admits the high school parking lot is in bad shape, and while he wants to address that area of the campus, he notes it's not only expensive, but with all the work they have coming up, it would probably not last as long as it could.
I would love to get that thing, because it's in bad shape. I would love to get that resurfaced or just completely redone. But I'm telling you, asphalt is crazy expensive. A couple years ago, we did the asphalt just around the high school, kind of by the softball fields and up there, and it's not cheap. So that's something that I have on my back burner. But while we're bringing in big trucks and excavators to do all the work, I don't want to put a brand new parking lot and then we're driving semi trucks and everything else on top of it. So that the parking lot, even the junior high parking lot, a lot of times people think, well, it's a school, but as a superintendent, I'm thinking not just, I got to see all the different projects. Like this last summer, we did the air conditioning and the heater and the electrical at the high school, and it was an expensive project. So I'm looking at, I have to look at not just the teaching and learning, but I'm looking at things like parking lots and coolers and boilers. So I have a facilities plan that I update. and I kind of prioritize. So those types of things are on my plan.
Late last month, the district learned it would be receiving dollars from the city of Clinton as part of a TIF fund to help put turf on its baseball and softball diamonds. The DeWitt County Fair Board is fundraising for more improvements at the 4-H Fairgrounds in Clinton. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, 4-H youth development educator for the University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties, Henry Kraft, told Regional Radio they have some existing and upcoming projects to keep the DeWitt County Fairgrounds in good shape.
Most of you are very familiar with the DeWitt County 4-H Fairgrounds. It's been a mainstay in Clinton for forever and ever and ever. We hold a lot of events there. And, in the last year or two, we've kind of, we, as in I speak for the Fair Board, and they have assessed some of our buildings out there. And, last year we did a campaign to re-roof the home ec building. And so that's where all of our general projects are located. So we replaced that roof from regular shingle to tin and replace some things on that. But as they were looking through some of the other buildings and assessing them, we came to realize that, the beef barn, basically the whole thing. So right now we're mid-construction on that. And if you drive by there, you'll see that happening. So that campaign, there's still a little bit to raise there, but our next project is going to be the swine barn, the roof. As they were looking at the beef barn, they said, oh yeah, the swine barn probably needs a new roof as well. So a lot of those updates haven't been done for quite some time. And so, as we were getting into it, the Fair Board was like, yeah, let's go ahead and invest in this. So we've got campaigns and they are raising money right now to make some of that happen. So if you're interested in that, Dan Enos is the chair of that board, but if you have questions, we can connect you with them. But we always appreciate the support from the community, and we got some great dedicated people of 4-H and the DeWitt County 4-H Fair. So we just appreciate that Fairgrounds and the board for doing all their hard work.
These projects can cost a pretty penny, and Kraft explains they are raising funds through applying for grants, business outreach, but he says most importantly are those personal asks.
I would say we're close to 60,000 for the roofs. And so we've got, it's a pretty large number. I should have it quoted in front of me, but I don't. We're upwards of 50,000 for some of those renovations. I believe also they're looking and talking about possibly doing something with the old show barn as well, but that's TBD at the moment. So we just got a lot of stuff that the Fairgrounds are going to benefit from some updates. So what I'm hearing is there's some grant writing that's happening. So props to the Fair Board for doing that hard work. They've been doing some outreach to local organizations and businesses. But it's really, in the fundraising world, I did a fair bit of that in a past life. And, the personal ask is always the most beneficial because it also honors the person giving the funds as well. And so I think that's a lot of what the Fair Board has been doing is reaching out to those that are very committed to the DeWitt County 4-H Fair, and also some of those livestock families that benefit from the fair. And so there's a lot of that right now. If you're interested, we can always connect you up with Dan and the Fair Board. But yeah, that's something that I think they're trying to take it intentionally. I guess that's what I leave it at.
The Fairgrounds Board is hoping to have these projects by this year's fair coming up in July. Because they have already started construction, Kraft says they're moving fast.
Yeah, we're hoping to get the funds for the swine barn by this fair, but I think they're giving themselves a little bit of leeway. So it could be also the 26th summer fair as well. But they've already started construction and almost finished the cattle barn. So they're moving fast. They've got the contracts already put together. So I think by this summer we could see some other updates, depending on how fast they can get the construction done, because that's always the concern. So DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties, all the 4-H projects, all the 4-H livestock come to Clinton. And so Clinton has taken on the mantle of providing a space for our 4-H programs. And so anything we can do to share the word and get it out there, we just really appreciate the DeWitt County fair board, and yeah, they get to play host every year.
Crafter Mines, the DeWitt County 4-H Fairgrounds, hosts youth from the 3-county area now for not only the open show, but for livestock and horse show, making the fairgrounds a very busy place each summer. If you're interested in contributing to the county fair board, visit extension.illinois.edu/DMP or call the DeWitt County office at 217-935-5764. Lawmakers returned to Springfield for the lame duck session, and then in February, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker will release his proposed budget for the state of Illinois. Senator Sally Turner says the recent veto session was rather uneventful, and with a quick turnaround from the lame duck session to new members getting sworn in, she says it's a busy time at the Capitol.
Yeah, we did. We had a very quiet lame duck session. It was nothing controversial. That was done, and then I'm sorry, I said lame duck. That was veto session. And now we look forward to lame duck, which is coming up. It'll be the 2nd of January, I believe it is when we'll be in session. So it's a really odd period of time. It should be the 2nd to the 7th of January. I think they're going to call us in on that weekend, on the 4th, for a couple of days. We've yet been privy to find out exactly what's going to be on the agenda, but of course, anything could come up that's been in the 103rd General Assembly, so we don't know what exactly it's going to be. Then after that, on the 8th, the new members will be sworn in. So in our area, we have a new member being sworn in, and that's Regan Deering. She will be our new representative in the 88th, so we're looking forward to having Regan on board.
Lawmakers anticipate a tighter budget this year because COVID dollars the state leaned into during the pandemic are going away. Senator Turner says it will be interesting how the governor and Illinois Democrats prioritize spending this year.
And you're right, Seth. We understand things are going to be so much more tight this year because as we've been warning all along that we were running out of the federal money that had been funding some of these programs, many of these programs that the governor made permanent. To fill in those gaps, we're already seeing problems with different areas that don't think that they're going to be getting their funding. So it's going to be a big problem, and we have not heard how the governor intends to fill those gaps. Of course, we're waiting to find out when we hear the budget address coming up in February, I believe it is, to hear what his plans and his team's plans are. Then, of course, we'll get together and have budget meetings and appropriation meetings for the next many months, up until May. But we again are in the dark to know what his plans are for cuts and how those are going to affect us.
Like many Illinois Republicans, the Lincoln Republican gets frustrated with how the budget process plays itself out. Senator Turner says there's very little, if any, collaboration in forming the budget.
I think that the important thing is that you address budget problems together, and it's never truly been like that. So in your household, when you have a problem with your family, you address that together and try and find out ways that you can curb different spending habits and things of that nature instead of pet projects, and those seem to be the problem. So this time, if he brings out his budget numbers to help him whittle through those things, but not allow him to pledge money to things that are not necessary to the representative of the citizens of Illinois is very important, and we need to watch how he's trying to appropriate those different funds. It takes a group of people to be able to sit down and try and whittle through those things. Now, he's already dug a deep hole, and we all know that. To get out of that hole is going to be tough, just like it is in any year that you overspend any money. But you're right. He blames a lot of that on the legislature. However, he prepares the budget, he passes it on, and says, here's what I see, here's my plan, and he expects the legislature to proceed with it.
Senator Turner says Illinois is going to have to make decisions on how and where it spends its money in the next year. 23 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Tuesday. More to come on the morning show.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at bombchevybuick.com right from the start.
News time, 24 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. The first major winter storm of 2025 has forced cancellations of blood drives across the state. Typically, winter is a month of downtime for blood donations with the Red Cross, and several inches of snow are worsening the situation. Jace Eustace, a public affairs specialist with the Red Cross, says the nonprofit could experience a trickle-down effect after the storm.
I mean, we know every year that the start of the new year is one of the most challenging times to collect blood products there's always that threat of severe winter weather as that continues to build, as we're kind of seeing here yesterday and in the coming days as well. That can very possibly lead to widespread blood drive cancellations. We also understand that this time of the year, we know that it's an active cold and flu season that can also prevent a bunch of people from keeping their blood donation appointments, as well as if you're feeling sick, we encourage you to stay home, rest, and recover, and then donate after you kind of recover from your illness. But, this is National Blood Donor Month starting here in January, so we encourage everybody that it's safe to do so. If the weather's not too bad in your area, if you have a blood donation appointment, try to do your best to keep that. Because the blood is needed now just as much as it always is. When we see these snowstorms that can affect a large area over multiple states too, which is what we're seeing, we know that it can lead to these cancellations. And when we see these larger number of cancellations of blood drives, it definitely can contribute to shortages. And we know that this time of the year is always tough because it's right after the holidays. We understand people, if they're traveling, everybody's kind of getting back into the swing of things, whether that be work or school or this, that, or the other. So it's always a tough time of year. So we're trying to do our best to make sure that we don't go into any shortage, and we try to anybody out there that can donate, we encourage them to continue to do so.
In addition to the storm, Red Cross also notices a downturn in donations due to the uptick in the flu. The American Red Cross provides services to over 12 million Illinoisans across 88 counties. In recent months, Illinois farmland owners have received random solicitations in the mail to sell their property. Some communications even include a purchase agreement. Illinois Farm Bureau Director of Business and Regulatory Affairs, Bill Bodine, says landowners should do research on the solicitor or even retain an attorney before signing any papers.
We have seen some recent activity around solicitations, just kind of random solicitations to landowners, where they're either in some cases seeking to buy property. So I've received a couple of phone calls. I know there's been emails passed around with some of these solicitations that landowners have received. I did want to mention it just to let people know that if you receive those, make sure if you're interested in that, you need to make sure you're doing your due diligence, understanding who's reaching out to you with those particular solicitations. Probably you're going to want to talk to an attorney about it. Again, we're talking about transactions of real estate, of farmland. And so we always want to make sure people seek counsel, get the kind of guidance they need to make sure you're making a sound decision and working with someone who is reputable. So if anyone receives those kind of solicitations, has questions, needs information, or is looking for some help or assistance, please feel free to reach out to your county farm bureau. They can get in touch with us at the Illinois Farm Bureau, and hopefully we can get you at least some information or point you in the direction of those who can help you if you've received one of those solicitations. Again, we're talking about real estate, right? Farmland, and that has a significant value to it. And so you want to take the time, maybe, you spend a little bit of money to talk with an attorney, to seek that kind of counsel, understand, do that research into who is making this offer if you're interested in it. And just make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, as we like to say, to make sure that if you are interested in this, exactly what you're getting into, and that all details are taken care of, so that you don't regret making that decision going forward. Again, if you're interested. If you're not interested, you can ignore that, obviously. And we don't. You mentioned this. That's an offer, a solicitation to buy the property. We see similar types of solicitations to lease property for wind or solar projects, just as an example. So again, when you receive those, if you need help, you need information, please, if you're a member of the Farm Bureau, reach out to your county Farm Bureau. They can get in touch with us, and we can hopefully provide you with some information and direction that can help.
In one instance, a landowner was offered just over $122,000 for 77 acres, or just under $1,600 an acre. The mailing came from a Chicago area firm. Taking a look at this morning's obituaries, 93-year-old pastor Betty Fern Thompson passed away January 4th. Services for 93-year-old Pastor Betty Fern Thompson will be Monday, January 13th at 11 a.m. at Lake of the Woods Church. Visitation for Thompson will be at 10 a.m. prior to the service. In recognition of Betty and Samuel's deep love for the church, donations can be made to Lake of the Woods Church. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. As of now, President-elect Trump's Friday sentencing in his New York criminal case will take place as scheduled. Judge Juan Merchan rejected the Trump legal team's request to put off sentencing while Mr. Trump appeals the verdict. President Biden continues placing more real estate, hundreds of thousands of acres, off limits to oil and gas drilling. This as incoming President Trump vows to regain American energy independence and lower prices at the pump. Former President Carter makes his final trip to Washington, D.C. later today. His body will lie in state at the Capitol Rotunda until Thursday's funeral at Washington National Cathedral. The snow has pretty much stopped falling, and now bitter cold is settled in across the central and the eastern U.S. On Wall Street, Dow futures are up 108 points, NASDAQ futures 12 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
From Equity Protect.
With SRN Sports, I'm George Williams. NBA action last night. There were a couple of close games. First, the Timberwolves over the Clippers by 2 points, 108-106. Then in double overtime, the Heat vanquished the Kings, 123-118. Pistons over the Trailblazers, 118-115. Suns beat the 76ers, 109-99. Pacers beat the Nets, 113-99. Magic over the Knicks, 103-94. Bucks beat the Raptors, 128-104. Bulls down the Spurs, 114-110. It was the Grizzlies over the Magic, 119-104. NHL play in a shootout. Sabres over the Capitals, 4-3. Took an overtime for the Canadiens to beat the Canucks, 5-4. Avalanche defeat the Panthers, 3-1, and the Devils over the Kraken, 3-2. One game in NCAA men's top 25 college basketball. 12th-ranked Houston beat TCU 65-46. This is SRN Sports. Taking a closer look at men's top 25 college basketball, Tennessee remains top-ranked in the AP poll for the fifth consecutive week. They're the only men's Division I team without a loss. They take the floor tonight against 8th-ranked Florida. Second-ranked Auburn will play against Texas tonight. And then the rest of the schedule has number 3 Iowa State against Utah. Number 4 Duke will play Pittsburgh. Number 6 Kentucky takes on Georgia. 7th-ranked Marquette is on the floor against Georgetown. Number 14 Mississippi State plays Vanderbilt. Number 21 West Virginia against Arizona. 22nd-ranked UCLA against 24th-ranked Michigan. And number 25 Utah State against San Jose State. NFL will be wild card weekend coming up. The defending Super Bowl champs Chiefs have a bye in the AFC. Lions have the same bye in the NFC. It'll be the Texans against the Chargers. Ravens against the Steelers. Bills play the Broncos. Buccaneers against Commanders. Eagles against the Packers. Rams play the Vikings this coming weekend. This is SRN.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Carly Anderson scored 26 points and led Clinton to a 66-39 romp over El Paso Gridley in non-conference high school girls basketball action Monday in El Paso. Anderson hit 5 3-pointers, helping Clinton turn a 19-13 first-quarter lead into a 37-15 halftime lead, and EPG could not recover. Clara Dempsey scored 17 points to help Clinton go to 13-5 overall. Lila Kluver and Avery Smith each scored 8 for the Lady Maroons. Clinton takes on Hayworth Friday night as a part of a varsity doubleheader with the boys basketball squad. Tip-off for the girls is 6 p.m. Hear Friday's action for both the boys and girls on WHOW and all its digital platforms. Kobe White made a go-ahead layup with 47 seconds left, and the Chicago Bulls topped Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs 114-110 on Monday night. Zach LaVine had 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists for Chicago, which trailed by 19 before rallying in the fourth quarter. Nikola Vucevic had 24 points and 11 boards, while White finished with 23 points. After his layup gave the Bulls their first lead at 111-110, Devin Vassell threw away the ball for San Antonio. White then drove the lane and dunked over a late-arriving Wembanyama, delighting the crowd of 18,886 at the United Center. Wembanyama had 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocks for the Spurs, who carried a 95-82 lead into the final period. Chris Paul had 18 points and 9 assists in the opener of a 4-game trip for the Spurs. Chicago used an 11-0 run to trim San Antonio's lead to 79-71 with 5:24 left in the third, but then Paul made 2 foul shots, a pull-up jumper, and 3 to extend the Spurs' advantage to 86-73 with 4:18 remaining in the period. The Bulls won for the 4th time in 5 games. They went 5 of 8 from 3 in the 4th. Chicago is in Indiana on Wednesday. Get sports anytime, from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 24. Winds out of the northwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows of aloft around 9 above. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs